Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and notifications button for all the good stuff we've got coming.
But you know what? Everybody calls me Sandy, so it's okay. Either way I answer.
What do you call me?
Dave,
What's my name?
Dave,
What is my name?
Dave.
See,
David.
you don't call me. My name is David, but do I complain? No.
Oh, shut up.
Actually, I think I was my sister and I think that was in my gin and lime juice days, and she told me about this workshop that was going to audition the next day. This was a Friday night, and she told me about the Detroit Reps workshop, and I told her, "Yeah, I'm going. Shit, yeah, I'll be there." And you know how they do. And the next day, she called me at about 11 a.m. in the workshop. I mean, you had to be there before 1. And she said, "Are you going to the workshop?" And I said, "What workshop?" And she explained again about the Detroit Repertory Theater's workshop. So I showed up and I read a piece. I don't remember that piece, but I ended up going to the workshop, what, 10, over 10 years, both sessions. I remember my first showcase piece was from the Glass Menagerie. It was about, I don't know, 4 sentences that started after the Rubicam Financial District fiasco. And I stayed up at night worrying about that piece. I'm talking, 4 sentences, 5 sentences at the most. And I think the rep tried to communicate to me that I could be better than what I was. And I fought that. Don't ask me why. I talked to Barbara about that last year before last. And I finally came around. And like you said, this is my tribe. This is where I feel at home. I still get the same thrill every time I walk into the Detroit Repertory Theater or go to the costume shop with her. And just remember, we used to have classes at the costume shop, and it all comes flooding back every time I walk in there. So it's a part of me. I've done several projects at Wayne State University in school, and I always would use the Detroit Repertory Theater. I'm always pumping the Detroit Repertory Theater. It's just home to me. I really enjoy it. I enjoy everybody there, and I hope people enjoy me as I am. Thank you.
Well, I started workshops also, and Dave told me about it, and I went down there, and I really enjoyed the workshops, but performing scares the hell out of me. I thought, I don't know how they do it. Just is the nerves were so bad. I said I love the theater, but I'd rather work behind the scenes, working with the actors and this set dressing and the stage managing, and I did all that for several years, and then people realized that I had a bunch of junk in my house, and I would bring some really good props in when I was stage managing in costume pieces, and I started working at other theaters doing that, and got a little better at it, and came down to the rep and started working behind the scenes doing costumes and some props and things like that, and that's where I'm more comfortable. my hat's off to all the actors, because I felt like somebody had a gun to my head the whole time I was out there at the workshop. But it was so much fun. The workshop is so much fun. It gives you that opportunity to say, well, I could do this or I can't. And I come from a theater family. My uncle was involved. I used to go when I was a little girl to summer stock with him somewhere in Ann Arbor and watch him. And they let me putz around backstage all the time. So that's my favorite, not my favorite show, but my most interesting show I worked with was when one-on-one with Linda Boston, when she did Mom's Mabley. And I remember almost every performance, somebody in the audience, some of the elderly clientele would get so involved. Some of them had seen Mom's Mabley. Linda did it so well that they would talk back to her. I mean, sometimes we'd have to go try to get up on the stage with her. They wanted to give her a hug. It was so touching because she was so convincing as that part. And I can't think of the show that Harry did where there was 12 disciples on the stage. It was so many people in the dressing room. It was a madhouse, but it was 12 people in the cast, and it was a lot of fun. And so that's my experience with the Detroit Rep. I've been going down there as long as Dave has, so it's a part of our lives.
Sandra, I want to say hats off to you and all of the designers and the technicians that are behind the scenes. What you do is so valuable to the production. It sometimes doesn't get the attention it deserves. And I want to ask you, what kind of training did you go through? How did you learn stage management or costume design?
Well, I was volunteered at the Black Box at Wayne State Theater. And not the Bonstell, what's the other one? The Hillberry. Good grief. And I volunteered. Janet Cleveland, she was a graduate student at the time. And she liked what I was doing as helping her out backstage and doing this and that, taking notes. And she's adopted me and said, come on, you're going with me when I graduate from here. And she started getting jobs as a director at Plowshares and other local theaters. And I worked with her, and she said, we got to get you an equity. And so that's how I started, just working with her, back-to-back shows with her. And I got my equity card, and I started doing that. But stage managing is a real challenging, and I like collecting the junk now, the costumes and the props, and playing with those. I'm having more fun.
Boz and Barbara and Dee did the dancing back in those days. I used to like that, the dancing. And there was various people doing the scene study. As a matter of fact, I saw something on Facebook, and I saw a name I haven't seen, Darius Dudley. Remember him? And I remember, he used to do the scene study. So there was another fellow that was pretty good. But what I liked about Barbara especially was she taught me the beats. Well, she taught us all the beats, but she insisted on you knowing the words when you walked in. And if you didn't know the word, this is at the workshop, if you didn't know the word, she would tell you to say the Star Spangled Banner. And then people would invariably say, oh, say, can you see by the dawn's? And she said, why'd you stop there? That's not a stop. That's one thought. And now that always stuck with, look at this, 40 years later, I can still remember that. So yeah, we had the lady that was on the commercials. You probably wouldn't even remember this, Leah. She said, where's reverse? It was a transmission commercial. And I met her. She was an instructor down there. And I was so thrilled. I met somebody that was on television. Oh, so that's that.
Were you ever late or did you ever miss a class?
Oh no. Oh no. No. If you were late back in those days, you didn't get a certificate, and I was going to get a certificate. And back in those days, if you were late 3 times in the first 6 weeks or something, you got kicked out of the program. I mean, the program was really draconian, but I managed to. I always used to have nightmares about being late for a performance or being late for a workshop. You know, that was my. It gave me an identity. I guess I could put it that way. I think I was working. I had a job, but it was a job. It wasn't a career, and this gave me a sense of who I am. Or if you were to hypnotize me and say, "What are you?" I would say, "I'm an actor." I would never say I work for the state of Michigan or something like that. I would say I am an actor. And I say one more quick thing about the rep. I've been to Los Angeles. I've been on auditions there. Naturally, I didn't necessarily get the job, but with the reps training, I always at least appeared to know what the hell I was doing. I mean, the training was that sometimes when I did get into a play or because I did several plays in Los Angeles, I would come in off book as quickly as possible. And they would point to me, and I didn't want to be a teacher's pet, but the hell with it. They said, now this is what we're talking about when you're talking about be prepared. But that's all I knew was what was the rep saying, being on time, you're late. And, you have to have your words when you get there. So, I mean, it was great training. I've never been stymied or really intimidated by another stage after the rep, anyway. I went to, the workshop gave me the moxie that I tried out for the Trumbull Theater, and I ended up getting the part. I ended up getting into the troupe. We did show after show, the ensemble, And that's where I met Leah. And Leah was a kid. I mean, a kid. I mean, she
18.
was a kid's kid. That's what she was. But she was so talented.
Mm-hmm.
She upped the ante. I mean, it was like everything I had done up until that point was child's play. Leah came in and just turned that out. I mean, she was stunning. And I got a bad habit. I did the same thing. My favorite show is Facility for Living. I did the same thing with Cassandra. She opened up, she was talking to me, and I'm thinking, wow, she's good. And I almost blew the, and she had started her second line because I'm standing there watching her act. I mean, I was sitting in a wheelchair, but I was just saying, wow, she is good, And I would just get thrilled when I'm on the stage with, great actors. I tend to want to watch them, go sit. But yeah, I remember, meeting Leah, that was a game changer right there. And nobody was more pleased than I when she started at the Detroit Repertory Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Aw, that's so sweet. Early is
Right.
on time. Time is late, and late is unacceptable.